Hello again, everybody. Zach Attack is here with the Atak Sportz for this Monday, November the 17th, 2014. Alright, hope you had a good weekend. I did, especially gigs and sports weekend. But this is about sports. Let's kick off with, of course, NFL Week 11. Thought and results. Let's get on down with, of course, the local divisional games in the NFC North, where I'm in that territory because I'm living in Detroit. And Detroit Lions facing up against the best team in the NFC West, Arizona Cardinals. The Lions lost their first game in a couple weeks, losing. Well, it wasn't your typical Lions loss. Usually when Lions lose, they lose 25-10 or 55-0. That was the Packers score, but it was 16-6. Lions only scored field goals. The offense could not get anything going. And once again, they tried to rely on the comeback. Failed miserably. That's what I said last week on my Atak Sportz, is that the Lions cannot rely on being the underdog every fucking game. They need to come out strong every game. Not just play when they're behind. You know what I mean? They need to play hard every time. You know what I mean? I knew that being a comeback kid every time would bite him in the ass. And boy, oh boy, did it. But at least they didn't lose that much, by much. But they're going to face against the Pats next week, who destroyed the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday Night Football. So we'll see what's going to happen to the Lions and Pats. Because if the Lions can't beat the best team in the NFC North or NFC West, they can't beat one of the best teams in the AFC as well. So we'll see what the Lions can do against the Pats. So there you go. Meanwhile, the Bears, after their embarrassing loss against the Packers, they rebounded by finally getting their first win at home. It looked like another Bears loss, because Vikings scored early on a fake punt. Fake punt turned into a touchdown. A missed field goal was like, uh-oh, here we go again, another Bears loss. But thankfully the Bears came back strong. In my mind, this game for the Bears, they needed this win. It was a game for pride. The season is done. They're not going to make the playoffs. But at least try to get back their confidence and silence the critics for now until they fire some people. So at least 21-13, big win for the Bears. In my mind, a redemption game. In my mind, a game for their self-confidence. To get back in the groove and at least say, hey, win the rest of these games. Get through this season, shake it off, and get ready for next season. And fire some coaches like Mel Tucker. But at least defense did well Sunday against the Vikings. Meanwhile, we had a big upset. The Rams beating the Pats competitor Broncos, losing 22-7. 2 interceptions for Peyton Manning. A lot of his great receivers got injured. Julius Thomas got injured. So did Bell. A Ball, among others, got injured. Sanders got injured. A lot of people got injured during the Broncos game. So it was a tough loss for the Broncos. They are now 7-3. And the Pats now take first place in their division after the Broncos losing. And the Pats winning, as I mentioned, over the Colts. Other wins, Bucks are no longer 1-8, they're 2-8. They finally got the second win over the Redskins. Wow, they beat all G3. And the Packers just destroyed the Eagles. After destroying the Bears, they destroyed the Eagles as well, 53-20. So there you go. Steelers take on the Titans tonight. So they go, and I'm glad the Giants lost. Peyton lost, so did Eli. 5 interceptions for Eli Manning in the game against Frisco. 16-10. They just got destroyed. Which is awesome. Fuck Eli Manning. I like Peyton, but fuck Eli. So there you go. That's my thoughts on Week 11. We'll see what the Lions can do against the Pats. If they can recover against their loss against Arizona. Hey, Arizona's one of the best teams in the NFL. They're now 9-1. So you can't blame them. And also, speaking of their division, Seahawks lost in a tough game against the Chiefs, 24-20. Very interesting game against those two teams. Came down to the wire. So there you go. That's, of course, Week 10 or Week 11 of NFL this week. See what happens Week 12. Now, on with UFC and Bellator news. Results from the past events. Plus, both revealed some of the early events for 2015. Let's kick things off with Bellator. Both were on Saturday. I watched Bellator, DVR'd it, missed UFC because it was pay-per-view. Because I had a gig. But like I said, DVR'd beat Bellator. And the last Bellator wasn't as good. The last one on a Friday sucked. But this past Saturday, really good card. Really good card. You had a little bit of a squasher that went on 2 extra rounds. King Mo taking on Joe Vitapol. He was supposed to take on Time the Blast, but he got injured. And this Joe Vitapol, this match should have ended in the first round. They went on 2 rounds longer than it should have. It should have been a first round squasher because King Mo just destroyed Joe Vitapol. He went on a little bit longer. He couldn't knock him out. He couldn't go for the finish. Then he fired a TKO in the 3rd round. So there you go. Then you had another big knockout. We had a lot of finishes tonight. A lot of finishes Saturday night on Bellator. We had Mike Richmond, quick TKO victory over Nam Fan. Just gone down bang. But my favorite fight tonight, one of my favorite fights tonight would have to be the middleweight fight. Joe Schilling taking on Melvin Manoff. And Joe Schilling almost got knocked out in the first round. You know what I mean? Like Melvin had him on the ground. He got him with a big punch, ground and pounded, but couldn't get the finish. But then the beginning of the 2nd round, I thought the match was over when Joe Schilling was down. But he got back up in that 2nd round. Bang! Big punch from Joe Schilling. Big comeback victory over Melvin Manoff. Man, that was a great knockout. Great knockout in that 2nd round. Then we had a lightweight championship as the interim champion was going to be fighting for the main championship as he would defend the title or go for the title. Ill Will Brooks taking on Michael Chandler. Now, of course, since Eddie Alvarez left the company and went to UFC, there was no permanent lightweight champion. So they had to do this fight tonight. And it was a really good fight between these 2 guys. Really good. Really good. It was very back and forth. It was a tough fight for being a championship fight. It was also Ill Will Brooks getting the victory with a big TKO in the 4th. And it was kind of a weird finish. It was kind of a weird finish. Like Michael got a big shot in the head, and he was waving. He turned his back to the referee. He was waving it off, and he got punched and got taken down. It was kind of a weird ending. It was a good call, but it was a weird ending to the fight. As I think Michael Chandler got knocked unconsciously for a second. Even he said in the post-fight press conference, it's just something weird that happened. Brush it up for next time. So you go, Ill Will Brooks is no longer interim champion. He's the main champion. Then the big main event. The bad blood between Tito Ortiz and Stephen Bonner. This is the first main event of a pay-per-view card for or a big card for a fight company that did not get canceled. Like every big fight we want to see, the main event always gets canceled in MMA these days because of injury. This wasn't the case. Ortiz and Bonner ran on with no injuries to either guy. And the match was okay. It was a good fight. And there was excitement. These guys had a good fight. But it wasn't the beatdown we were all hoping for. Went 3 rounds. Ortiz won. Split decision. I didn't think it was going to be split decision. Bonner had some good shots of it. Ortiz was on top of him. And especially the ending, he flipped them off. And, the bad blood's still there. There could be a rematch. Because, hey, they want a unanimous winner, not a split decision winner. So it could be a rematch. Because these guys still hate each other. So, and Stephen was like, hats off to you, buddy, but I want to kick your ass again. So there you go. See what happens with that rematch. And they also announced the Bellator schedule for 2015. They're not doing things weekly anymore. They're doing an event a month. They usually do 10 weeks in a row on Fridays. But now the new season is going to be an event a month. The first event's in January. And it's still going to be on Spike. Still going to be monthly instead of weekly on Spike. Pitbull against Daniel Styles. That's going to be a great main event right there for the first card. Then a big card on the 27th, day before UFC pay-per-view. They calling it the British Invasion. Headlined by Doug Lehman defending his title against Paul Semtex Daly. And also the British Knockout King, Liam McGeary, takes on his champion in his division. I forget who that is. But that should be a great fight as well. Oh, Manny! Man, you knew. Yeah, that should be awesome. And Bobby Lashley's fighting again. So it should be a great couple fights for Bellator in 2015. Meanwhile, UFC, of course, they had their pay-per-view this past Saturday. In my mind, I looked at the card for UFC 180. This fight should have been a Fox Sports card, not a pay-per-view. But pay-per-view did run on. The first pay-per-view in Mexico should have been a Fox Sports card, in my humble opinion. The results were Hector Urbina knocking out Edgar Garcia, actually making him tap out to a submission in the first round. Augusto Montano knocked out Chris Everly, TKO. Ricardo Lamas got a big submission in the first one against Dennis Bermudez. A lot of finishes. And Alvin Galstium defeated Jake Ellenberger by submission. And Fabricio Werdum, who was supposed to face off against Cain Velasquez, had to fight instead for the interim title against Mark Hunt. He got the victory by a TKO, flying knee and punches. Big knockout for him. And today, UFC announced the first couple fights. They announced the entire schedule for 2015. The entire year is revealed. They've never done that before. They never revealed an entire year schedule all in one swoop. Of course, we do have events in January. Of course, it'll all kick off with Bones and Cormier finally on January 3rd. And Anthony Rumble Johnson's been reinstated. He's going to be fighting again in January. And of course, we got big fights coming up like Silva and Diaz. Wyman and Belfort, that's of course February 28th. They have a Bellator call. They got all the events set up for next year. And they are saying, according to a press release, that it will feature 45 events taking place in US, Canada, Latin America, Brazil, Europe, and Australia. Half the events will take place in the United States, 6 scheduled in Vegas. And they're targeting UK, Ireland, Germany, Sweden, Poland, Japan, China, Korea, Philippines, Toronto, Montreal, and Calgary. And there'll be 13 fights on pay-per-view, 4 on Fox, 18 on Fox Sports 1, and 10 events on Fight Pass. So there you go with UFC there. Before we get to Raw preview, I know it's going a little long here. Little quick thoughts on TNA. The contract with Spike's not renewed. They got to look for a new TV contract. They were supposed to have a contract extension with TNA and Spike till December, but it ain't going to last past that. TNA's a new network. But speaking of new, this past Wednesday on Impact, new tag team champions James Storm still had his Feast of Fire case for a tag team title shot. He and his new partner Abyss, now in the Revolution, got a quick cash in attacking the Wolves. So we have new tag team champions James Storm and Abyss. That's going to be interesting. I think they ward up the Wolves because one of them got injured. So the fight against the Hardys never happened. So we have new tag team champions Storm and Abyss. Now, just want to get little thoughts on that. And I think last week is beating up everybody. He wants Rude. He beat up on Austin Aries last week in Impact. So there you go. Little thoughts on that. And now, WWE Raw PV for the night. The last Raw before Survivor Series. Boy, oh boy, do they have a lot of things to announce tonight. Well, 1 week away, we only have 4 matches. And we need another Survivor Series match. Top 3 questions that must be answered tonight. Question number 3. I cannot believe this is. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. What's going to happen with Grumpy Cat? Number 2. I can't believe that fucking Grumpy Cat. Come on, man. You know the fucking desperate for guests for the fucking show where they have Grumpy Cat. A meme. Come on. Question number 2. Will any new matches be made for Survivor Series? Now, we do have, of course, the main event, which I'll get to in a moment. We got, of course, the Divas title match. Nikki Bella taking on the Divas champion, AJ. We got Bray Wyatt against Ambrose. They should have been in Survivor Series matches, not one-on-one matches. And I think that's about it. 3 matches thus far for the main card. They still need to announce what's up for the pre-show, and they need a lot more matches to be added to the pay-per-view. So they'll probably add more tonight, like they always do. Add more matches last minute. And question number 1. Who will be the 5th guy on each team for the main event at Survivor Series? Now, the teams have gone topsy-turvy last week. And as we end towards Raw tonight, going into Raw tonight, we have 4-on-4. With Team Cena's team consisting of John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, Big Show, and Sheamus. And Team Authority, led by Seth Rollins, Kane, Rusev, and Mark Henry. Now, last week, Ryback supposedly joined Team Authority at the beginning of Raw. But by the end of the night, it seemed that Ryback was on his way out, attacking Team Authority at the end of the night after his match against Cena. And then, we had Dolph Ziggler being taken out. Now, as of right now, he is still going to be on the card. He's still on Team Cena, despite being laid out by Harper last week at the end of Raw. So I think Harper may be the fifth guy on the Team Authority. Emery may be going for Intercontinental Championship match. I've been seeing it that Luke Harper's my favorite member of the Wyatt family besides Bray Wyatt. So it's gonna be cool to see Luke Harper in a singles round and maybe feuding for the IC Championship. So we may see him officially added tonight, and also officially added probably right back on Team Cena. We'll find out tonight on Raw, 8/7 Central on USA Network. That is it for my very long Atak Sportz today. See you all later. With that in mind, y'all been attacked by the sports news from Zach. See you later for my Raw review tonight. Oh yeah.